evening hours at Kim FM. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to the dear listeners of Ikim FM. Welcome to a brand new episode of Above and Beyond. I'm your host, Patricia Afrina, and in this show, Above and Beyond, our aim is to motivate you with stories from inspirational people throughout all walks of life. And in this episode of Above and Beyond, we are going to talk about everything you need to know about sisterhood. If you are wondering what is sisterhood, sisterhood is actually a state of being a sister and also the solidarity of women based on shared conditions, experiences, or concerns. So it is not just for the women to listen to us. Actually, it can also be beneficial to men because it can help you to understand better about the feelings of women, the sisterhood, about the friendship of sister, how do they interact with each other and how do they perceive each other. So it can give you better understanding about women. And being with me in the studio is Atia Idina binti Awal. If you still remember a few episodes before, we have her in the studio in this show to talk about how can confidence change our life. And in this episode, she will share with us about her sisterhood experience. Welcome to the studio, Atia Idina binti Awal. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back here again. If you remember me, I am Atia Idina binti Awal, and I am a law student currently in my second year of law school and fourth semester. So, sisterhood is such an interesting topic. When I think about sisterhood, it's like unlocking a treasure full of memories and emotions. It's not just a word to me. It's a feeling, a vibe, a connection, and that's why I feel compelled to talk about it because I have lived it, breathed it, and I know there are so many other girls out there, including you, Miss Betty, who
Yes.
feel the same way. It's because my journey with sisterhood isn't just about hanging out with friends or shooting the breeze. It's about finding those soul sisters who get you inside and out and on a level that goes beyond words. It's about having each other's back no matter what, right?
Yes.
So, when I talk about sisterhood, I'm not just talking about friendship. I'm talking about relationships that are built on a foundation of trust, support, and understanding. It's like having a bunch of sisters, which I already have. Actually, I told Miss Betty about this. I have 5 sisters. But this is in terms of friendship. So friends that are always there for you, ready to laugh with you, cry with you, and lift you up when you need it the most.
So actually, it goes beyond a
Mm-hmm.
normal friendship, and
True.
even in my opinion, I think there's a difference between a typical normal friendship with also the sisterhood
Mm-hmm.
friendship. It is more than best friend. It's someone that you can rely on,
Mm-hmm.
someone
True.
who can trust on. And this is something while doing research for this episode. I read, sharing from a Facebook user.
Mm-hmm.
So this Facebook user, she defines sisterhood as accepting each other unconditionally, knowing
Mm-hmm.
that you will always be by each other's side through the good
Mm-hmm.
and bad. And for this Facebook user, sisterhood is an unbreakable bond that
Mm-hmm.
no one can come between.
True.
Sisterhood is support, be it in person or from afar, and sisterhood is that thing that connects you for life. So if you realize, I think there's a similarity with
Mm-hmm.
your sharing, Tia, about support, because I've heard this. We did this interview before from a doctor, Dr. Tamaragi, where she mentioned that the strength of a woman comes
Mm-hmm.
from another woman, and
True.
it highlights the
Mm-hmm.
importance of support in a
Mm-hmm.
sisterhood. Support is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go, go deep into
Mm-hmm.
that, Tia, can you share with us some experience
Of course.
about your sisterhood relationship?
Of course. So, back in primary school, actually, I was kind of a loner.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is because I went to a Chinese school, so there was a tough language barrier there. And of course, I could talk in Chinese, but I couldn't communicate as well as other people. So it made it tough for me to connect with others. So I wasn't exactly the outgoing type either, so making friends didn't come easy to me at all, even from a young age. So all that changed when I hit secondary school. That's when I got a taste of real sisterhood. And I bet a lot of people can relate to this. High school is where we really start figuring out who we really are.
Yes.
And it was in our rebel, naughty phase. And the friendship we made during that years, they are the ones that stick. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me on this because they were there for the big stuff. So what I want to say is like my high school friends became my sisters in every sense of the word. We went through everything together from crushes to heartbreaks, from dramas to exam stress, and to making big life decisions together. They showed me what sisterhood was really about. So most importantly, they were always there for me for the tough stuffs, the times when life knocked me down and I needed a hand to pick me back up. And this is the most important time. Let me tell you, they weren't afraid to give me reality checks when I needed the most. Now that's real sisterhood because to me, real friends, they would call me out on my nonsense and set me straight. Just
Mm-hmm.
like how if you're in a shop, you're wearing an outfit and they would tell it looks ugly on you instead of faking it
Mm-hmm.
and you buying that outfit. So in the end, it's the shared experiences with those people like for me with my high school friends that really cemented our bond, whether we are laughing until we are crying or whether we are crying until we're laughing together.
Mm-hmm. And usually, when you look for, someone you can trust on,
Mm-hmm.
someone that want to build that sisterhood relationship, what are the values or characteristics that you look upon that people
Mm-hmm.
before you can trust that?
All right. So, trust is like the foundation of the sisterhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sturdy and reliable, but it's not always easy to come by. Actually, there have actually been moments, I am sure a lot of people would relate to me on this, where I put my trust in the wrong people. And let me tell you, it stung like a bee. So I would like to share a personal experience on this. And this is quite a ridiculous story. But I recall a time when I confided in a friend about a secret crush that I had. I trusted her implicitly and believing that she would keep my confidence safe. But imagine my shock when I suddenly hear her in the classroom giggling with a group of girls, sharing my secret like it was a juicy gossip for everyone to hear. And it felt like a dagger to the heart, a breach of trust that left me feeling exposed and also vulnerable. But amidst the sting of betrayal, there are also moments of profound trust and loyalty. Because it's about when you meet the right people to confide in, like the time when I was in a really tight spot and I reached out to my closest friends in university, laying bare my fears and uncertainties without hesitation. They what they did was embracing me, offering their unwavering support and guidance, and stood by my side through thick and thin. So, these contrasting experiences serve as poignant reminders of the importance of trust within sisterhood. Trust isn't just about sharing our deepest truths, but it's about finding the right people to confide in so that our vulnerabilities are met with understanding and support rather than betrayal. So, when we find those who honor our trust, it creates a safe space where we can freely express ourselves without fear of judgment and betrayal. So, trust isn't something to be taken lightly. It's earned through mutual respect,
Mm-hmm.
honesty, and reliability. And when we find those who embody these qualities, we should treasure them like gold because they are so hard to come by.
Yes, and usually when it's like the core of sisterhood is trust, right? And whenever we do something, it is not without its own
Mm-hmm.
challenges. So I believe in trying to retain that sisterhood, that
Mm-hmm.
friendship, there'll be times where we'll face with challenges
Mm-hmm.
that it will make us question about our decision on
Mm-hmm.
whether should I continue with this
Mm-hmm.
relationship, whether should I believe in this
Mm-hmm.
person in supporting me.
Mm-hmm.
So in your opinion or in your own experience, are there any specific challenges that arise within your sisterhood dynamics, and how can they be navigated?
Of course. So, sisterhood, much like any relationship there is, isn't always easy. There are bound to be bumps along the road, conflicts that
Mm-hmm.
arises and misunderstandings that can shake the foundation of our bond. But what truly matters is how we navigate through these challenges. So I remember a time when a disagreement with one of my closest friends threatened to strain our relationship. It was with my high school friends, and it's the fact that we rarely meet each other anymore. It felt like we were speaking different languages,
Mm-hmm.
unable to bridge the gap between us. So instead of letting resentment fester, we chose to confront the issue head on. We sat down and had a heart to heart conversation, even if it was in the telephone because we were so far from each other. So we aired out our grievances and listening to each other's perspective with an open mind. So it wasn't easy. There were definitely some big egos bruised along the way, but in the end, our willingness to communicate and compromise brought us closer together than ever. So I would say communication is the way you handle the challenges in your sisterhood.
Mm-hmm. And I've listened to this before
Mm-hmm.
about, people have attachment style, and some people they are clingy, some people are not. But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that they are not a good friends. It's
Sure.
just like the way how they, you know, convey themselves in their
Mm-hmm.
relationship are different from one another. So talking about that, I would just like to touch slightly about clingy friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some people they need reassurance, constant reassurance from their
Mm-hmm.
parents, from their partners, and also from their friends that they are beloved, that they
Mm-hmm.
are, they're still in relationship. But
Mm-hmm.
for some, it's just that people think that it is too much. Why would you need constant
Mm-hmm.
reassurance about something? So, what's your opinion on that?
All right. So I believe what you're talking about is differences in style. So we're talking about clingy people. So what I understand from sisterhood is not just about uniformity. It's about celebrating differences. So in my experience, I wasn't the clingy type, but I think this story can relate it to the question you asked me earlier. So, like, let me spill a little tea that really hit me in the feels. You see, if you know me, you know I've got this thing when I'm in group settings, I would sometimes go quiet and do my own thing, especially in group settings. And most people get it. They would just be like, "Oh, that's Tia being Tia," and they're cool with it. But there's this one time and I had this one friend. I wouldn't say that she's clingy, but she's the type to call you out on everything. So we were eating, right? Everyone was having a good time and suddenly she dropped this bomb on me. She said, "Are you not happy hanging out with us? You're just so quiet. If you don't want to hang with us, just don't join us."
Mm.
So, and let me tell you, that hit me like a ton of bricks. Suddenly, hanging out with the same group of friends that I have been hanging out
For
a
years.
lot of times before
Oh.
felt like a chore. I felt this pressure to constantly chat and prove that I'm enjoying myself. When all I really wanted to do was just kick back and chill like I usually do. It's like before they got that my silence was just me being comfortable around them.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like I gotta put on this whole show to make them believe I'm having a good time. And that's when it hit me. Communication isn't just about shooting the breeze, it's about tuning in, picking up on the vibes, and making everyone feel heard and respected. It's about creating a vibe where it's cool to be quiet or to speak up. And there's no pressure to fit into some mold. For example, the clingy person. So if it's in a real sisterhood, And if you truly appreciate that person as your friend, you wouldn't ask her to change herself, you know? Because at the end of the day, true sisterhood is about accepting each other for who we are, quirks and all. It's about finding that safe space where we can just be ourselves, no apologies necessary. So if you think it's too much for you, then it's okay, you can tell her. Maybe that's not your soul sister. So sisterhood, like a fun way I can tell this is like sisterhood is like being at a music festival, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
everyone's got their own jam, and you might be vibing to hip hop while your friend might be vibing to indie pop. And hey, maybe you're a night owl who loves to stay up late, and while your friend is an early bird who's up with the sun. So instead of hitting pause on these differences and making it a problem, we turn up the volume and groove to our own unique beats that makes us who we are.
Mm-hmm. That's a very interesting point of
Mm-hmm.
view. So, being in a sister, it is with someone that or it is with the people
Mm-hmm.
that you can be comfortable in being
Mm-hmm.
yourself, the true self, right? And I think we can talk more on that later.
Mm-hmm.
Once we go for a break on how can it turns into a toxic
Oh, okay.
relationship. So, dear listeners, we'll go for a break, and once we come back, we will listen more from Tia only at Kim FM, inspirasi utama anda. Welcome back. Just now, before we went for a break, we listened to Tia's experience on the challenges that she faced in retaining her sisterhood, and I think it's very relatable because usually when we talk about that, um, you know, uh, things that we have to remember is that different people have different personality, but that doesn't mean that you cannot be together, you cannot be friends. It's just that how can you with each other can communicate on how you can cooperate and also be live together with
Mm-hmm.
different personality. And going forward into this conversation, just now I asked you about into just now we talk about the clingy and then people have
Mm-hmm.
expectation on you, then it can becomes toxic relationship. So can you share with us some maybe things or some I would say signs that you can look for when you think that that relationship become toxic?
All right. So, to answer that question, there's this outdated stereotype, that girl friendships is all about drama and
Yes.
competition, jealousy. Okay, let's be real. It does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's true that sometimes things can get messy, jealousy can rear its ugly head, and competition can sneak its way in, it's essential to recognize that these dynamics aren't exclusive to female friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Guys experience it too. So, for signs, I would say imagine this scenario like when you excitedly share some fantastic news with a friend, expecting her to be just as thrilled as if you are hearing that news from her. Instead, her reaction is lukewarm, and later you discover that she's been talking behind your back, like maybe um, minimizing the successes that you had. So, when you discover she's been harboring feelings of jealousy, it's surely a tough pill to swallow, right? But
Mm-hmm.
and it will surely puts a strain on friendship. So that's how I say in girls' friendship, you would sense jealousy the most. So if you feel like there's a friend who like always want to compete with you, and I'm not talking about healthy competitions, me and my university friends, we compete we compete a lot. We've cultivated a different dynamics. We enjoy friendly competition, whether it's seeing who can finish a Korean drama first, the fastest, or who can conquer an impossible video game, mostly homescapes levels. So, yet, when one of us achieves something noteworthy, there's no room of jealousy or signs of jealousy. We rally behind each other, offering genuine support and encouragement. And let's not forget about guys, because I've heard from my buddy. So he told me like he had this friend where his friend always seemed to rain on his parade whenever he achieved something significant. For example, if he won a football match or he got a dean list for his semester, that friend would make snarky comments like, "Oh, you played against a weak team," or "Oh, this semester was like easy," or "Your lectures are easy to give marks," even though he didn't get dean list himself. So it was as if his success triggered resentment in his friend. So what I want to get to this point is that's not the foundation of a genuine friendship, whether it's sisterhood or brotherhood, regardless of gender. So this is because real sisterhood or brotherhood isn't about feeling threatened by your friend's successes. It's
Yes.
about genuinely celebrating their victories, standing by them through thick and thin, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And that's very interesting of a point of view. And talking about that, I do believe that some people experience loneliness.
Mm-hmm,
They feel like, oh, I don't have any female friend.
mm-hmm,
I don't know how to connect with other women. I know
mm-hmm,
that some women experience these problems. So I would like to seek for your maybe share tips, for the people who are struggling to find or maintain their sisterly connection. So,
mm-hmm.
what are your advice on that?
My advice of that is seeking out your people. And when you gain a friend, be a friend that they can rely on. That's how you create a relationship of sisterhood. So I would like to share a personal story on this. I want to talk about my university crew. So let me tell you, during this adulting phase, it's particularly important for you to have sisterhood because we need that emotional and physical support more than ever. The encouragement in someone who's willing to lend a listening ear, whether we're celebrating the good times or struggling through the tough ones. So, take me for example, as a law student, stress is practically my middle name. So, assignments, exams, you name it, it's enough to drive anyone up the wall. But having my girls by my side make all the difference. And I would like to share a story where how you form sisterhood and how you know that person is going to be your sister. So I'll never forget the time when my car decided to call it quits on me and the power steering went kaput. And let me tell you, I was freaking out. I sent out a single message in the group message, and
Mm-hmm.
before I knew it, two of my friends, which actually at that time we were not as close as we are now, but suddenly, out of the blue, they were right beside me. It's the fact that I knew they were already on their way home or already at their home, but they didn't even hesitate to show up for me. So we spent the whole day together driving to the mechanics with one friend leading the way and the other bringing up the rear. And get this, when it came time to eat, I wanted to treat them as a sign of gratitude, right? But they insisted on just getting drinks. So they said they were already full, and I was so confused at that time because I wanted to treat them, but I was the one eating. Turns out, in our one of our deep talks after that, I found this out much later. The reason they didn't order food is because they didn't want to add to my stress financial wise because I just spent my money in the mechanics, right? So even though at that time they were starving themselves and actually they got food right after when we went home. Can you
Mm-hmm.
believe that? So like that, my friend, is sisterhood in action. Knowing that you've got people in your corner who will go to such lengths for you is a pretty empowering feelings, and that's how you know that you need to keep that person in your life forever. And let me tell you, it's moments like this that remind me of the true meaning of friendship, that a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Mm-hmm. And I like to bring right just now I mentioned about how a woman's strength is
Mhm.
based from other
Uh-huh.
women, and then we talk about women empowerment in this conversation. So I would like to ask you, how can sisterhood can leverage other women, especially when we talk about in the perspective of women empowerment. So how can women empower another women, and how can sisterhood can be used as a tool for social change and also activism.
Alright, so about women empowering other women, I couldn't agree on this more because I can't even imagine where I would be in my life without my friends by my side. They are my rocks, my cheerleaders, my partners in crime. They lift me up when I'm feeling low,
Mm.
celebrate my victories like they were their own, and remind me that I'm never alone in this crazy journey called life. And vice versa, of course. So, thinking back on all the memories we've shared, feels like flipping through like a scrapbook, filled with unforgettable memories. So, from late night heart to hearts to spontaneous road trips, each memory holds a special place in my heart, a testament to the bond we've built over the years. So, it's moments like this. It's moments of the heart to heart spontaneous talk. So, it's about those conversations that you seek guidance, you seek advices, you seek support from them. And women, in discussing this, let me tell you, I faced some pretty tough times along the way, moments when it felt like the world was crashing down on me. But every time I stumbled, my friends were there to pick me up, to remind me of my strength and resilience.
Mm.
So they are the ones I turn to when I need advice or just a shoulder to lean on. And in return, I do the same for them. This is sisterhood, guys. Offering support, encouragement, and also loyalty. Because that's what true sisterhood is all about, right?
Yes, that's very sweet listening to
Mm-hmm.
you. It's someone you can cross upon. So it actually goes beyond best friend, right?
True.
It is someone that will be there for you to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we talk about that. Just nice you mentioned about the core of trust,
Mm-hmm.
trust, and having that relationship alone can empowers you. And it relates back to our previous episode, Tia,
Mm-hmm.
on confidence, right?
Yes.
Because you cannot be confident if you don't have someone to affirm
Mm-hmm.
that belief. And having sisterhood will help you not just in your confidence but
Mm-hmm.
also whenever you face difficulties in life. And
Mm-hmm.
as we are reaching the end of this conversation, Tia, can you share with us maybe one or two words about his sisterhood as a conclusion for this episode?
All right. So, like I said, true sisterhood is all about being there for each other through thick and thins without judgment or fear of looking vulnerable to your sisters. It's about creating a safe space
Mm-hmm.
where we can be ourselves, flaws and all. So here's to my friends. I hope you're listening. The ones who make life brighter, sweeter, and infinitely more fun. I'm grateful for each and every one of them, and I can't wait to see what adventures await us in years ahead. Here's to friendship, to sisterhood, and to the incredible bond that ties us together now and always. And to all the listeners hearing, maybe you can chat your friend up and tell her that you're so lucky to have her in her sisterhood journey. Thank you.
It is the sisterhood, it is the bond that goes beyond being family, where it connects
Mhm.
women to each other in its most magical manifestation, and which it allows each woman in the sisterhood to thrive in the ways she could never do on her own.
Mhm.
And with that being said, I would like to thank Atia Edina Binti Awal for her insights on today's topic, everything you need to know about sisterhood. And we hope that today's sharing will be beneficial to those who are listening to us either through radio or even through our social media pages, Facebook and YouTube. And again, listeners, thank you for listening to us. And also to Tia, thank you for being with us in the studio. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.